Congressman Joe Courtney, Democrat from Kentucky. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks so much for being with me on this Sunday. Excuse me, from Connecticut. I said Kentucky. I meant Connecticut. Sorry about that.
As you know, that Louisville beat UConn, so go ahead.
As you know, this week, President Obama charged your colleagues as well with a set of gun proposals. Among the proposals, universal background checks, a ban on high-capacity magazines, an assault weapons ban, stricter laws on gun trafficking as well. I want to play for you right now. This is a snippet from what Chuck Schumer said on Meet the Press this morning. Take a listen.
This is the best chance of getting something done, and I think you're going to find much broader support than we ever imagined.
What do you think? Do you think at this point we're going to get the broad support, Congressman?
You know, I agree with Senator Schumer. I've talked to some of my colleagues from the other side of the aisle. I've talked to some of my fellow Democrats from rural districts. You know, the events that took place in Newtown, I really do think has changed the landscape around this issue. It's still going to be very challenging, but if you look at the polling and the shift that's occurred in the last month, and the president's, you know, total engagement, I just give him such high marks about the fact that he followed through on the promise that he made to all of us in that auditorium at Newtown High School about 30 days ago that, you know, it's time to change things, and he did. I mean, those executive orders are going to strengthen the database within the Brady background check, but obviously Congress has to act if we're going to create a universal background check and do something about the magazines and the military-style weapons.
In terms of political feasibility, I mean, there already been a number of Democrats who have either been largely silent to a certain extent, or they've already come out and they've said that, you know, I may be for universal background checks, but I've got some concerns about, you know, banning either high-capacity magazines or the assault weapons ban. Do we think that the president probably shot for the moon here, understanding that he would land among the stars with regards to his wish list?
You know, I actually feel that this is something that, and you could see it in his eye that night, that this is something that he's just going to go for it as strong as he possibly can. You know, and I think, you know, the one thing in terms of his second term, I think lesson he learned with student loans, with the fiscal cliff, was that going to the public, going over the heads of Congress, can force this body to move, and I really fully expect him to engage the public, who again has changed in the last 30 days, to create that political environment that it's going to make it, you know, better for members who are tempted to vote for some of these measures to actually follow through and do it.
What do you make of some of these folks? Some of these folks who are saying that there's a concern that the president and Congress are trying to rewrite the Second Amendment and that they're trying to take guns away from people.
You know, again, I come from a relatively rural part of Connecticut, and, you know, there are a lot of gun owners who, in my opinion, we've already been talking to with emails and calls, and who do, I think, are willing to support measures like universal background checks so that the mentally ill and people with criminal records are prevented from buying weapons. And again, if you look at the Supreme Court's decision, Heller versus D.C., which set forth that, you know, strong interpretation of the Second Amendment as an individual right, even within the decision, Justice Scalia said society has the right to restrict ownership for people, again, with mental illness, criminal records, and to limit, you know, guns that really fall into the hands more of military operations than normal civilian use. So I think, you know, reasonable gun owners, and again, they are many of them who are outstanding people, veterans, law enforcement people, I think they are receptive to measures which, if you look at the president's package, totally protect individual rights under the Second Amendment.
Congressman Joe Courtney from Connecticut, not Kentucky. Congressman, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Craig. Yep.